Okay, well, we like this activity with the adjectives that they've used. And I've done something like this before, is to make it, can everybody hear me? To make it more difficult and more interesting, as I've done, we've brainstormed a whole lot of emotions, and I've made a poster with the kids' faces. I take a picture and they have to actually show that emotion, and then we have a little classroom poster with that. So it just gives them more vocabulary as well. And to make it easier, we'd also do the same sort of thing, and then maybe have the kids draw the pictures of the emotion or adjective. And we also like the...
Stop for 1 second.
Okay.
I just want to clarify, make sure I understand what you're saying.
Okay.
So you have a microphone that works. So you have two activities. The first one tries to make it more difficult. Is that correct?
Yes.
And the way you do it is you have students make their own expressions, and you take a picture, and they make a poster.
I make a poster with the expression,
Right.
And then it's a classroom poster, as well as they get to act out the expression.
Yeah.
So it's adding more vocabulary and then acting out as well.
So it makes it more difficult by extending it,
Yes.
by widening the scope of vocabulary from 6 words to 12.
Yes.
And the second activity,
To make it easier, and it's by giving the kids expressions, and they have to draw the expression. Or yeah, so it's a bit more simple. Yeah.
give the kids the words, and
Yes.
then they draw the picture.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
So they like that.
Let's stop.
Okay.
Let's stop for 1 second. So the way you made it more difficult was you extended the scope of vocabulary, and the way you made it, it's not that wrong. The way you made it easier is by they don't have to speak or write the word, but they draw a picture. So it's an artistic representation, or you can even have them do it physically.
Yeah.
What about the next two?
Then the exercise for the matching, we'd probably make it just oral, so the students have to read, because it's why and because. So they would read the sentences on there already, and another student has to answer because. And then to make it a little bit more, it can be a little bit difficult but also fun, is they have to come up with another why sentence, like why did you go to wherever yesterday, and then another student has to stand up with a because answer, just to extend that activity a little bit more. So it's not really making it more difficult, it's just an extension of why and because.
And can you repeat the first one? I was lost.
Oh, with just doing the activity, is
a student reads number 1, why did the children usually take the bus home, and then another student has to answer because from those answers. So just basically answering the activity.
Great job.
And the last one, we have 3.
Let's give another group. Yeah, the third one's a good one. I'll tell you what, if no one does your third one, we'll have you come back to the sheet first.
I'm not.
Yes. In the book, number 4 was an individual activity. You made it a pair activity or a group activity. So if one student is weak, the stronger student could help them in theory. Second thing is, to make it more difficult, you use the context from the book. You use the WH questions from the story, and then you ask the students to apply that to a different context, to their real life. And they came up with WH questions. So we move from something that's familiar to a new context. That makes it more difficult. Great. Any other groups? What about the sleepy group over here? Any ideas? Go up there.
We chose the first one, which is true or false, and then we wanted to make it more difficult, so we have this modified true or false. And what we are going to do is just let the students identify first if it's true or false, and then if it's false, then the students have to underline the word that makes it false. And then if you want to make it more difficult, so you have to let the students say, change the word to make it true. Alright? And the second one is the last one.
Wait 1 minute.
Sorry.
That was a great activity. That was a wonderful activity because not only did it make it more difficult, it was an activity that requires the students to do that terrible T word, think. So I pointed out, I told you about that book by Doug Lemove called Teach Like a Champion, and that's one of the things he strongly recommends. He says, and I agree 100%, that true-false questions, multiple choice questions, are mostly mind-numbing activities, which just requires you to extract information from the text. It doesn't require you to think. Unfortunately, we normally use course books, like the one I just showed you, that do that exactly. They require students to extract information, say if the information is true or false, and not think. So he suggests, just like you did, is when an answer is wrong, explain why. When an answer is correct, explain why. This is a very good test-taking strategy that gets the students to think about why is such and such answer correct. Very good. What's your next activity?
Our next activity is the last one, which is close your books, tell the story. So I think it's very difficult for some students. And what we can do here is that we could make a summary of the whole story, and then we are going to scramble the sentences, and then let the students rearrange it and make the whole story, just like that.
Okay.